everybody. I'm doing a session for a client, so I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in booking a session with me, you can do so at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. All right, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with you, and thank you so much for sharing here on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to read your goals out loud and then I'm going to get started. So you say, I wish to contact my higher self and Archangel Metatron to dissolve all blockages and attachments that keep me from being free and aligned with my purpose and life force energy. Okay. It's a really powerful statement. I'm going to say this, my higher self and Archangel Metatron, which is your higher self. Okay. So my higher self and Archangel Metatron are dissolving all blockages and attachments, keeping me from being free and aligned with my purpose and life force energy. All blockages and attachments are dissolved. All blockages and attachments are dissolved. I just feel like enhancing the point. All right. Okay. So I'm so ready for this. This is going to be interesting. All right. I'm going to relax and get started now. Now we get to see the dissolve of these attachments and blocks, right? Since we've already made the statement, now we get to see what it looks like in action. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I mean, we really need to put our foot down and start making the statement. Because I feel like you literally are turning into a soup that is finding your way more to the floor than blossoming out into the world, okay? So it's more of a, seeping into the earth than, ooh, I'm free, you know what I mean? And so when we make these statements, then anything else that is against it to create resistance, right? We ourselves even create resistance. So even yourself that is creating resistance has to stop it. You're going to stop it now because all the attachments and the energy blocks are dissolved. Thank you very much. Okay. So I'm going to help you to be firm in the statement because this is exactly what you want. I mean, it's not help me. It already has been completed. Okay. So let's get into the rhythm here. Yeah. Okay. So I'm really helping you to visually describe basically the energy is really draining. I feel like I'm entering into a sphere where I can't hardly breathe and the energy is like getting choked into my lungs and I feel like I'm suffocating and I'm getting pulled into the earth and I'm extremely exhausted. And it's like there is absolute resistance here. It's like trying to tie down a force, like trying to take gravity and prevent it from being itself, right? By all this invisible force. No, you will not be gravity because we're going to be flying now. Like, I don't know. It's like this crazy thing. Like, you just need to be yourself, but there's all this force that is preventing you, this impossible force preventing you, and it's keeping you from being free, as you put it, you know? It's like this impossible force. So I have to be really careful because if I go into this, man, I just become one with it and I feel what it's like to be you. But the energy is saying, no, I got to be strong in the voice that you are working on having for yourself. And we're going to do it together. Okay. And so we're going to do it together. So you need the extra support. So that way it's like, can you walk with 2 broken legs? Or could I be a support to help you get through this, you know? So here I am. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're totally at a pinpoint in the direction. And you're conquering this But again, it's like one human being trying to pull an entire mountain. It's impossible. It's ridiculous, even. I'm going to see all this resistance like a mountain, and there's just like one cord, and I see it attached to your lower back, and we're just going to disconnect the cord, and the mountain isn't there anymore. What's interesting is you built up the muscle to be able to pull this mountain, and when the cord isn't there, it's going to be extremely confusing. In fact, you might even manipulate the situation in order to put the mountain back, because you can't understand how life could be this easy. And so you need the mountain because that is the burden you carry, right? But it isn't. You don't carry any burdens. You're done carrying burdens. Okay, good, because I'm cutting this cord because it's already dissolved. Like there is no cord. We're just going back into their memory of what happened. And there's this like terrible witchy woman, and her voice is basically like a screaming spirit of darkness, and she's a ruffling energy. She's just ruffling and screaming at me in the process of cutting this cord. And she's doing all kinds of like mind work. She's creating the illusion that the cord is made out of some uncut, like I have these like clippers, okay, massive giant clippers. And she's creating the illusion like the cord is this unclippable thing, and that my clippers are getting extremely cold and breaking in my hands. Like she's creating all these illusions that aren't real in order to prevent me from doing this simple task. And so I literally just put her in an orb and send her away. I see the cord's already cut. I don't even need clippers. It's just done. I need to look at you. All right. This is where I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to go to your higher self and Archangel Metatron, okay? Might have to do one at a time here. It might be a little much to do them both at the same time. Okay. Your higher self says, why do you stop there? And I say, because an important part of your session is you want to work with your higher self and Archangel Metatron. I'm just channeling through them both this inspiration, okay? But I feel there's value to the human that gets to actually see the interaction taking place between me and your higher self and me and Archangel Metatron. It just adds to the experience, you know? All right, so okay. So I am present here, and I have two faces. Basically, let's just say there's two heads on one body. One head represents your higher self, one head represents Archangel Metatron. But then they blend together, and then it's just me standing here. And I reach my hand out, and I feel that like my right hand is Metatron and my left hand is your higher self, but we're all connected at the heart. And both hands are reached out for you to hold our hands, touch our hands. Just lean on us. Just don't resist, like don't think any further. Just lean on us and let us take you from this energy. The next experience is that you can't conceive of it. It's almost like you need something to conceive of in order to enter into it, but that isn't true. It's like you need to go through a phase where there's nothing conceivable taking place, as though it's kind of like a sleep state, to be honest. And in this coma, you are downloading the awareness that will allow you to wake up and see what you need to see in this new way. But right now it's at an inconceivable state. So it's almost like you're going to have to pass out in order for you to transition into the next. It's like a quantum leap event. It's an inconceivable event. It's from one reality into another reality, but what is between those realities? The inconceivable event. And how can you conceive of one reality, and then now conceive of another reality. It's almost like you have to go through a coma state and then you wake up in the next reality, because it's too overwhelming for the human mind. That's why it seems like a seamless thing taking place, but really there is much in between the seamless thing. You have a lot of doubt. You just do. I mean, they look like different sized spherical balls, and they're kind of like a burnt orange. It's kind of like a brownish, reddish orange. And there's different sizes. Some of them are the same size. Wow, this is creating a pulsating sensation in my third eye. Just looking at these spheres. Whew, gives me a weird chill in my back. In my heart. And you want doubt. Again, the resistance. You want a reason to continue to pull the mountain, but the mountain's gone now. So now you can work with doubt. So now the mountain can still be there. But there is no mountain, so you're just lying to yourself. That is the point and the purpose of doubt, so that you can lie to yourself. To make yourself feel better. Doubt. It allows you the freedom to lie to yourself so you can make yourself feel better. Doubt, you know? It's so great. Okay. We just laugh. It's just like life as a human being, you know? Okay. It's getting really tight in my throat. You're really doing a very profound job. You are running, you have a version of yourself that is not going to stop trying, and it is very strong-willed, but it is running with very little steam, but it's pulling it still from other parts of the universe to keep going as you're trying to rip like a fabric, an energy, a dimensional fabric, something off the back side of you. And once it rips off, you're going to be like a lightning bolt moving forward. And all this is going to be some weird past that you don't even know why the memory is like this, because it doesn't feel like it could have ever been like that, because life is going to feel so much different, because that's a quantum leap for you, you know? So there's no such thing as doubt, right? So we're working with a new statement. So I have experienced a quantum leap, and I'm in the next version of a reality where I have no resistance. And I truly have reached the level of being a lightning bolt. Man, I am free to take off now with all the steam and energy and power of the universe just coursing through my veins, just propelling me forward, right? Because that's your divine truth. There isn't any other truth. There's only this truth, right? That you have all the power and all the energy of the universe coursing through your veins, propelling you forward. That's the only truth that exists. That's the only truth. There's no other truth. I don't know any other truth. So anytime the frequency is just like getting wishy-washy, I just like wash it away, because there's only this truth. This is the obvious truth. It's a sense of freedom, but it's like the power coursing through your veins is the freedom. The energy to propel yourself forward is the freedom. The freedom to live, the freedom to exist, the freedom of yourself in this life and what you want to do with this life. Your purpose that you discover for yourself is your freedom, right? You get to find out who you are in this life. That's part of living here, is to find out who you are, decide who and what you are. You get to decide who and what you are, you know, whether you want to believe other people's opinions of you or you decide it for yourself. And then you, with all your might, be that, what you decide that you are. until you change your mind or transition into another version of who you are. You know what I mean? It can happen a lot of times in a single life as you just become a new person over and over and over again. Man, I was such a different person back then. Man, wow, look at me. Who am I? God, I don't even recognize myself. Like, we go through these weird phases. We really do become new people many times in a single life, you know? And I feel like you're on the brink of that. You're becoming a new person. Event. Literally, it's an event. Because you do want this. I feel that in your heart, you do want this. And because you want this, and it's powerful enough statement, and then it is done. And so you want it, and it is subconsciously desired. So it's not like you're thinking about it, you want it from your mind. It's actually the depths of who you are also is wanting this in alignment with the divine path, you know? And now you have this like rocket ship of energy. And now you're there, okay? Because you wanted it in all parts of your being, you know? Like it became all that you ever wanted. So this now has become all that you ever wanted, therefore it is done. It is done. There's nothing else here. It is done. Okay. We're still catching up with everything that is done. And I just feel it literally my calves going up the back of my legs, out my back of my back, like it's just these energy like ripples, you know, going up and down to my legs and my back. All right, it's relaxing now. What part of you decided you aren't there yet? And I just say, and that's not you. Because all the parts of you decided you were there. So you're there already. This you is a kind of like a puddle of oil, and you create like a cat-like body, and you're kind of a cat like shadowy person, and you hiss at me. And there's a bit of like a reddish like blood. It basically represents blood, but it doesn't. It's more like a strange ooze, okay, coming out of your mouth. And so this is some part of you that decided it wasn't there yet. This is a very toxic energy. My God, is this, I totally removed this chaos drip. I just put it in a box, sending it away, bam, it's gone. I'm impressed that we were able to literally like, it's kind of like, so in Star Trek, like if you come on to the ship and you're bringing a virus with you, they just like dissolve you into your previous like genetic makeup without the virus. I don't know, they like have this technology, you know? So it's like I dissolved you outside of that chaos. So what remained was this chaos that was holding you back, and it wasn't even you. So I just took the chaos and I boxed it up and sent it away, okay? Because that wasn't even you, but it did need to be dealt with, okay? All right, so Metatron, your higher self, I feel them inside me here. And now we're all for one. All right. I see the experience of a storybook with really large pages that are quite like, they're thicker than your classic page. It's more like a flat page. It stays flat. And there's also a pool of water, and there's looking into the water, and you just get, it's like you have an attachment to a dreamy state where it's kind of delightful to be in a dreamy state, basically. And the dreamy state says, I don't want to. Like, I just want to be in a dreamy state, so I don't really want to. I don't even really care about quantum leaps or whatever. I don't really want to. I'm just like this dreamy person. I want to say it's got attitude, like, I just don't want to. Sorry, but no, I'm a dreamy person, so yeah, whatever, dude. I just stay in my dreamy world. Like, I'm just so much better than that. My dreamy world is like way cooler than whatever quantum leap is. And so that's self-manipulated imprisonment right there. I'm literally going to detach this part from yourself, and I'm going to send this part away as well, because this part of you needs to go through its own timeline of lives in order to self-realize. But the you that you are today that's wanting this quantum leap is louder and more impressively manifesting ability is like really there, which means that we're just gonna prune the tree, okay? There's nothing wrong with this. This happens all the time, where parts of you could be in this life and not even realize that you sent a part of yourself to go live 1,000 lifetimes and come back with the information that you're looking for, and then you have this magical epiphany. And that happened because some part of you just went and lived 1,000 lifetimes in order to get that epiphany to digest in this human body in this present moment. You have no idea how many things like this are happening. So don't get too freaked out by it, okay? And wonder what happened to that part of yourself. That part of yourself is doing the next step in their evolutionary process, okay? All right, now I have to get you caught up with who you are without that part of you. Because you can't comprehend your identity without that dreamy there. And for some reason, you allowed that dreamy to actually be the substance of your physical body, as though that is your personality, or that is your identity, that is your very flesh. And so to send it away is to send yourself away, but you don't even know who yourself is because you think that is yourself. That is actually a manipulation. That is actually preventing you from being yourself. You are saying, I feel oddly better without that. I say, I know you do. Just give it a little bit more time and adjustment. Because when you're not inhaling the same breath as that dreamy thing, you're actually going to clear the air of your own mind and have access to a new articulate way of thinking and being and processing your reality. And this is what you've been searching for. Believe it or not, that wasn't actually a part of your own soul. That was actually basically a growth, an identity growth, a personality. Like it just somehow budded there. And it was not, it was influential, it was influencing you, but it wasn't actually you. And it would have been hard for you to tell the difference. It was even hard for me to tell the difference. It was even hard for me to tell that it wasn't you until it was completely sent away and you adjusted to a time period without it. And now it's quite obvious that that was actually some kind of strange energetic growth that needed to be removed in order for you to actually, it's just like, you know how they say like sculptures, they take like a stone and then it reveals its true self as it's chiseled away. So they're just chiseling away what isn't part of itself. Like, so the end is this like amazing sculpture that was always there. This amazing statue was always actually what was part of the stone. They were just removing the rough edges, right? So that was just a rough edge to your stone in order for us to see you, the glorious you. that's really cool to even feel that. I mean, it was almost like you were an amazing plant that had a weed that was wrapped around you, and the weed had been there, and so you thought the weed was a part of yourself because it'd been there for so long. So then we just pulled out the weed, and you're like, you're making me lose myself. You just ripped out a part of me. That it wasn't actually you. It wasn't even you. It's cool. It's cool. You feel like hilarious in your mind. You're kind of breathing and laughing and confused and happy and thinks this is so funny and strange. Okay. This is an emotional thing. There's angry eyes that are like bloodshot red, like, and they're just so angry. The reason why they matter is because for some reason the anger creates strength. And so if we hold on to the anger, then we hold on to being stronger for longer, right? But if we let go of the anger, then what are we without it? I'm not really sure what is behind the anger, what caused that anger. I'm wondering if it is even your anger, or if it's just another manipulation. We're just gonna take it off of there and send it away, and let's just see what happens, okay? So I just put these bloodshot eyes that are freaking pissed off, and then just put them in a box, send them away. It's not your anger. Not your anger at all. And if that thing needs to go live a bajillion lives in order to self-realize, and so be it, or if it was just a weird thing that grew here that was just old negative energy, then so be that. And let's just see how you feel now without it. You do feel different. You feel cleaner. And you're kind of like, this is so eerie. You say, like, who am I? Because if I'm not these, like, what actually makes me who I am? Because who I am was actually part of that anger and a part of that weed, and as a part of that seemed like it was a part of me, but really it never was. And so as I'm like chiseling away the unneeded stuff, I mean, what does that say about who I am? I mean, you're really expressing yourself like this. I say you're self-loving. I mean, that's the manifestation of all of this. That's what's getting you to this place of freedom with your higher self and Archangel Metatron. That's where the power and the quantum leap energy is coming from. I'm going to see that this runner is no longer connected to anything that's holding you back. And I'm just separating that illusion from this runner, okay? So you can feel that exchange where you are propelling forward. I just really want to emphasize that that is done. All right, let's catch up with where we're at so far, with what's already done, right? I'm going to go to your most present day self, and I want to see how your present day self relates to the energy body that you are after all this energy work so far. Yeah, I mean, literally, it's like I'm creating a brand new outfit for you, which is your energy body is returning to you as a highly rebalanced expression of itself. And it's okay to allow yourself to allow that in, to allow yourself to be that which you are without all those extras. I ask you, what do you want to do with your life? You kind of try to tap into the dreamy you, because that's where you usually go to get creative ideas, but that's actually not a good dimensional plane for you to be working with. So I say connect with your heart. Say it as though you already know. You already know who you are. You already know what you came here to do. You already know who you are meant to be in this life. You already know. So say it as though you already know it from your heart. What is it that you already know? Oh, you do some crazy stuff. You start, you have a pencil and you have, it's like sand, but it's more like grainy dirt. And you just start like in this dirt. I mean, you could probably do this with a black marker and white piece of paper, but you just start creating shapes in the ground, and your eyes kind of flicker back in the back of your head, and you start expressing noises. It's like a light language drawing and a light language vocalizing it, but you're like a complete medium for some very influential and impactful energy that's just flowing through you, and it's like totally tapping into the planet, into nature, into the nature of your human body. And it seems like this is something you're doing in your own time and space, not necessarily exposed to other human beings while you're doing it. I mean, I really see you in kind of your own meditative environment and experience, and this is where you're letting it out right now. And maybe this is just gently testing the waters of what you define yourself to be at this time. And then at this time, seeing what that is like and seeing how you feel about that and seeing where it takes you. You know, it's okay. It's like, what is my purpose for my whole life, as though I'm only going to do one thing? You can actually state that my purpose is this. Okay, now do that. Until you feel like you've participated in it enough that you're finding that you can tweak your purpose a little bit. You know, my purpose is this, but it's actually more like this. And now you're going into a faction of the original statement, and you're fine-tuning, and becoming a practiced and learned guru of your own kind. Whatever you define your purpose is, you become a guru in that as a faction that continues to get fine-tuned. You say that you want to make this statement. You say, I am alive. 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 If you are alive, you are not asleep, right? If you are alive, you're not a dreamer. If you're alive, you are living, you are thriving, you are breathing, you are active, you are being, you are existing, you are expressing. You have a heartbeat, right? You say, I am alive, and it is a very activating statement to say, I am alive. I like it. It's appropriate. Okay, so I feel like we're teetering from one side and another. So one side is definitely whole, is definitely there, is definitely ambitious, definitely at the next level of your own self. Is kind of we've unwrapped the box and opened it up like a Christmas present, and bam, you're revealing your secret self. Like it's coming through. It's coming through the woodwork of who you are. Like you are now that expression. But I have this other sphere, this other side of the teeter-totter, and this is I don't know why you keep leaning towards, I want to call it something about self-esteem. Like refusing to want to be that strong, refusing to want to be that incredibly aware, that talented or gifted, refusing to want to be that, almost like it comes with a consequence. Like when you put yourself out there as the strongest part of who you are, it comes with consequence that you really don't want to deal with. You'd rather lay low than be present, because now you have a certain level of responsibility to uphold. And your life then depends on you staying true and consistent with that level of responsibility. So it's like the self-esteem decision to choose to lack in your identity so you have less responsibility. But that's actually not who you are at all. It would be like Napoleon Bonaparte saying, I'm going to be a cook. I'm a great cook. But actually has the power to be Napoleon Bonaparte, you know? Instead, chose to be a cook. Like, I mean, that's still a good role, but when you're a leader and you're at the forefront of masses of people that are counting on you and looking to you for direction and expectation of what we need to do next to succeed, right? Can you imagine the responsibility? The responsibility, and you can't have a bad day. You can't cry like a baby in front of everybody and say, I can't do it. You're Napoleon Bonaparte, man. You can do this. And so you have to follow through with that leadership role. You have to follow through with the strength of who you are. And you seem to know that that role comes with a lot of burden, and you don't want to participate in a role that comes with a lot of burden because it's asking you to be strong each and every day. But if you're at the background, it's like I had experiences being a waitress, and you're at the forefront of the process, right? And I wondered what it would be like to be a cook, because then I could be in the back and I could goof off and listen to music while I'm cooking. That's what they were doing, right? I don't want to be up here having to give people their food and their drinks. Like, I wasn't a server for very long because I was just intimidated by the role. And so it's like being in the background gives you a certain level of freedom to just, be behind the scenes and be your personality without having to uphold a certain level of customer service. Obviously, the customer service is in the food, but it's like the face forward versus the face behind the scenes, and there's something to your capacity that can actually uphold a role of being a profound face forward. And it comes with responsibility. And let me just listen to what you have to say about this. Okay. You say, basically, it's kind of like, well, then I don't know what I'm meant to do with my purpose. It's so just give me a second. We have felt the self-esteem issue. And now we understand the self-esteem issue. We understand the resistance. As I'm communicating with this side of you, it's resorting to being like, oh, well, I don't know what my purpose is anyway. So it's resorting to playing dumb. All right. And so it's like, oh, self-esteem issue or playing dumb, which then is the self-esteem issue, which then gives you an outlet and an excuse for not being the Napoleon Bonaparte inside yourself. There's like the profound leadership that you actually have the potential for, the profound face forward, Something about this interaction is extremely draining. Like it's pulling my mind, my ability to think clearly, my ability to communicate my thoughts clearly. It's pulling it straight into my stomach. And as it pulls all this intellectual self into my emotional gut, I feel like I'm becoming a mindless vegetable person. Ugh. Okay, I have to understand what is causing this response? Why are you attracted to this? I'm gonna have to actually know what it's like to be, by choice, becoming a mindless vegetable person, because that is what I want to do with my life. I want my purpose to be a mindless vegetable person. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to live as a mindless vegetable person, because then I don't have to take any responsibility for any of my choices or my actions, or if I have a bad day and I want to be a crybaby and I can't, I don't have to take that kind of responsibility, which is asking too much of me. I would prefer to be a mindless vegetable person, and that is how I want to live. See, I have to break this. Because I have to understand too, why are you deviating towards that as your comfort zone? I mean, that is setting the bar so low, you might as well be a vegetable, a human vegetable. Feels like a vegetable has more purpose because it's choosing to grow. The human vegetable just lays there and blinks, maybe doesn't even blink, that maybe it's in a coma. This isn't the sleep state, the transition into the quantum leap. This is actually, we're already in the quantum leap, but now I'm still pruning the tree to understand what are the little dynamics I need to chisel off of here to help you feel the truth of this quantum leap. So there's no illusions in the way. You're actually free, okay? This is powerful. What happened to you in other lifetimes that you would resist so much? That you would resist, and you would never admit that you were actually afraid. You're afraid of that kind of responsibility. Is there shame involved? Like if you say something wrong, you might hurt somebody's feelings. Is there shame? To what level is the resistance? Is it small? Is it big? Like, oh man. Being in this energy is really overwhelming. Literally, imagine your energy self being pulled from your face and then sucked and digested into your stomach, and you just kind of becoming a weird wheel that just becomes basically still, and then a part of your stomach. I'm still transmuting it. I'm just like allowing myself to feel it, okay? Still trying to understand why you're choosing this as your comfort zone. I find it very uncomfortable. Okay. Why Napoleon Bonaparte? Why? I don't know why, but I'm going to see you and Napoleon Bonaparte as one. You are Napoleon Bonaparte now, okay? All right, let's just see you and Napoleon Bonaparte as one, okay? You're starting to puke, you're starting to gag, you can't breathe, you're like breathing in like a pepper spray, you're coughing and choking, your face, it seems to be oozing out your eyes, your nose, you're drooling, you're choking on the ground, you're literally going to pass out and die. And this bitter part of you says, what's the point of life when you're murdered? It's like war, living a life where you have beautiful dreams of falling in love and having kids or whatever it might be. And then bam, next day you're dead. And can't conceive of how to relate to that being life. And in a way, preferring to put yourself in a safe position where you can actually go from beginning to end. Like you can have a natural process and die at an old age. But when you expose yourself to the world, you expose yourself to a shortened life, is what you're telling me right now. And this part of you wants to live a full life, even if it requires you to be a living vegetable person. You will find your way to the end and die of natural causes of old age. All right. This next experience is really potent. It's really overwhelming. And it makes me gag. It makes me want to vomit. It makes me want to lose my... What do they say about the cookies? lose your cookies or something, like throw up, okay? It's really unfathomable, and I'm trying to open my eyes to see, and it's like being completely disoriented, like a bomb that just blew off next to your head, and you're disoriented in a survival state and trying to figure out where you are and what's going on. But it's worse than this. And I don't know that this is planet Earth, okay? There is something about a massive creature, and it's very dinosaur-like, but it has salamander-like skin, and it's an off reddish purple color, and it's very scary looking. It's scarier looking than a dinosaur. So let's just cross a demon with a dinosaur with a dragon and make a smooth skin out of it. But its eyes are really tiny, and it has a very oversized head, and it's got this massive mouth, almost like its head is its mouth, and it's absolutely terrifying. And so there's chaos, I feel vibrationally scattered people that are screaming in terror and running for their life, and you being hit really hard on the head, disoriented, but there's a really loud noise in your ear, okay? And there's this thing extremely close to you, and you don't want to get eaten alive, okay? All right, this is interesting. As you come to consciousness, as you come to stability with what's going on, you pull in energy inside yourself so that you can become a strong stance, a strong pillar of yourself, okay? In order to fight back. And it seems to intuitively happen. Let's say that you were timid and you weren't the type that... You were just a fun-loving hobbit type, okay? Now you're Frodo Baggins up against Sauron, okay? You have to find it inside yourself to face the impossible, but in a single minute. Like where they say people can have these superhuman powers suddenly hit them in the weirdest circumstances, like a fight or flight moment. And then now suddenly they're lifting a bus by themselves in order to save some people, okay? So it's like you had this intense trigger switch happen, and you are becoming strong and powerful all of a sudden, out of nowhere, okay? And you actually have the capacity to face this thing on a level where it's man to man. It's not you're the prey and it's the predator. It's like fighting back, and you actually could have some pull here, okay? This is a really good thing that's happening, that we're revisiting, because it's realigning your heart, your emotional gut, your third eye, and your throat. And all that energy where it's getting sucked into your stomach, and I'm just getting pulled into this wheel, is a very, very awful feeling, okay? The vegetable state preferred over being at the forefront, where your life now could be at stake even. And the parallels to lives where your life was at stake. You'd prefer to take the back seat so you can have a full life, okay? Play it safe this time. But that, again, is not the message that's coming through here. It's not about playing it safe. It's just about living. Not living as a vegetable, playing it safe, right? Just about living, and then whatever comes, because this thing is representing a serious issue, but showing us the capacity of yourself to face the impossible instantaneously. You have a secret power, okay? All right. Again, as I show you this inside yourself, it is triggering something, because I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling more stable. I'm not feeling sucked into your stomach. That means you aren't sucked into your stomach here. You're actually coming back into balance and finding your inner strength, your power, your totem energy, okay? Because I feel a totem pole, and you as a very strong totem pole, and they want to define it as a totem energy, okay? And you yourself are a totem energy. A side discussion here on this. So, like totem animal, you met like a fox or a lion or a bear or whatever, okay? What if you yourself are a totem energy, like you yourself are? That's so cool. So on a totem pole, there's the chisel of your face. And I have this on my totem pole, which is you. The strength of you on my totem pole. So you yourself are a totem energy. That's so awesome. Okay. Again, it's rehabilitating you. I can't see what comes next, because we're still working on the digestion of a new energetic stance, okay? Circulating it back into yourself. It's really positive. But okay. This is going great, but it's exhausting, and it's starting to feel a bit shaky, like it's a bit too much, too fast. So we got to slow this down. Nausea is starting to overcome me here. Balance and equilibrium. Slowing down the scene. Time to face this monster. It is not, it doesn't have arms or legs, actually. It's a snake-like body. It has a face like a Tyrannosaurus Rex with really tiny black eyes, like hollow black eyes like a shark, and a really massive head with this huge long teeth, like a foot long, and there's lots of them. These sharp teeth. Equilibrium. And it is as if you yourself are stopping time in this event. Because you are seeing things before they happen, as though you know what's going to happen next, and you know your place in what happens next. And you are literally everything in your surroundings. You literally become everything in your surroundings. And what you end up triggering is basically an earthquake. And I feel the ground shaking, like overwhelmingly, like it's starting to crack in places and come into a divide even. Like this thing is going to get swallowed up by this planet. And you're completely drained now, and you're just on the ground. And you're passed out. And now I see you waking up in our human world, and you're denying yourself that gift. You're denying yourself that truth, because it takes so much trauma to activate it, that you're explaining to me how absolutely overwhelming it is. And I want to say the word scary, how scary it is. But I don't want to define it as scary, because there's nothing scary about it. But there is a level of trauma. What triggers it is traumatizing. What triggers it is massively traumatizing. But the process of what you're doing with energy and yourself as this beacon, as this node, as this power, it's almost traumatizing to the form, because it's so unfathomable. And then it just pulsates out of you into an event in order to protect yourself and others. And it's outside the box. I don't feel like this blends into everyday life here in this realm either. Although this creature is quite surreal looking. You would think maybe that they have more other skills, like Lord of the Rings skills, you know? Not human skills. Anyway, we're pulling that in you, and all right, let me see next, because I have to listen here. It feels like I'm to remove the resistance for being who you are and what you're capable of, and you don't want to. You flat out say it. I don't want to go through that type of experience in order to have that kind of response, in order to be that type of emanation. I don't care even. And I understand the statement, because you're not trying to prove yourself to anybody. You're not trying to be a hero. You're not trying to be a celebrity or anything. You literally don't care. You just want to be an everyday person. You want to have a nice life from beginning to end, and you don't want to get involved. You don't. You just simply don't want to get involved. And that's the attraction to what your resistance is to your actual personal freedom. So not getting involved, sitting, taking the back seat, having the life from beginning to end, that this inner self energy is expressing, is actually, believe it or not, it's lying to itself. I really relate to it though. Totally. Like, how could that be lying to itself? Because energetically, your identity and what you represent, you are called for more than that. And you're not... Let me just take a moment here to find the right words, okay? I'm just going to say you're called for more than that. And let's see what you say. You split into 10 different advisors, and you're talking amongst yourselves. That monster is in the energy world now, and I see its face is made out of basically hardened lava, but it's still very hot. And it watches from the side, the left side, at these advisors that you've become. They're basically you as like 10, 11 parts of yourself. And they choose to ignore that. I feel that is... an incarnate reflection and actual true experience. I feel that is also a spirit guide. And the spirit guide comes in this appearance for a reason, to remind you of your true strength and what you're capable of. That you want to deny yourself that because you've decided that safety first. And that's all ego stuff, because your true self is living in the moment, is totally free for self-expression however it wants to come out, isn't choosing the concept of holding yourself back. You're completely at the will of your own energetic expression. And why do we have to define that other than it is? It is. Now, if I were to define it as the vegetable person, that is not you. All right. So I bring your counsel together and just have you look in the eyes of this monster thing with like the shark eyes, okay? The big mouth. You don't want to look eye to eye with it. Because you know that it's calling you to be more than this. And it drains you in a way. And I feel a major emotional thing happening here in your heart and in your face and your head. And you're angry about it. It's like you're not allowed to choose the life you want to live because you're called to be more than this, which means that life then is chosen for you, and that angers you because you came here to live an easygoing life and you're asking me to be more than that. I don't want to be more than that. I say just let go of anything and everything you thought that this life was about and what you desperately wanted it to be about. Just let go as though you never had any evaluations of these kinds, and just set yourself free from the attachment of thinking about the way you need life to be in order to be happy. Just let go of the attachments to those concepts, okay? And now as a completely whole and just neutral expression, let's just see what the thing, this guide, okay, as a monster, has to show you, okay? And let's not decide before we hear this guide out, okay? You say, okay, you tell your emotional gut to stop, shh, be silent. I mean, you're very self-aware. You have self-control. You really do. The guide tells you there's an imbalance between yourself. So you yourself do not see the guide as above you or more advanced than you. In fact, you see this guide as less than yourself. And this also irritates you because the guide is calling you to be more than yourself. And why should I take orders from you, you know? And so there's an interesting evaluation of energies and identity. But you're only doing this because you know the advancement of yourself, and you're not actually doing it to put this guy down or bring yourself up or bring yourself down or whatever. It's just part of an egotistical reaction to the totality of all that you are. As a human being, this stuff happens. It gets in the way because we think we're humans, okay? So the guide is just expressing that right now. And the sound of it is like, it's like the zizzy noise, all right? Something about that sound is familiar. And you find yourself almost levitating and magnetically moving towards the face of this. And you again start to cry, and you turn it into a bell shape, like a church bell, and you start to ring. Back and forth you go and you ring, okay, your bell. And you feel a calling and a union of balance inside yourself. And you define it as bliss. And you understood that all of a sudden. You understood it completely. Because you understood it as a whole. And you kind of say the familiarity of what that was, or that it was communicated, was so obvious to you that you couldn't not become this bell and merge with that concept. I mean, it's an instantaneous reaction. I'm just a bit dumbfounded here by how quick that was. Why did it have to take this long to get to this monstery thing? Like, as it did, right? You call it your equal because in that communication, it reminded you of who you are through the mirror of its own eyes. And the terror and the bliss became in union with one another and now became whole. as who and what you are. The balance of terror and bliss is now in balance with who you are in the present. And you yourself, now expressing yourself as your higher self, is talking to you to think about your identity on different planes of existence as terror and as bliss, and why that then creates a conflict for you to know how you want to move forward with this life, and just allowing yourself to be all that you are, and defining it in your mind as wanting to take the seat back when really you're this powerhouse. And again, it's not like it's just being who you are. It literally is just being who you are. I mean, even Metatron is bowing before you out of just respect for who you are. Respect for who you are, right? And there's a great deal of reverence for you. And you need to hear that and be aware of that and receive that truth for you to be who you are as well. Allow it to be felt. So that's what I'm being shown here. What an incredible journey this has been, and I really value this whole experience. I value you, and thank you very much for sharing with all of us here as well. There's so much takeaway to this, and I appreciate that. So I wish you all the best, and everybody watching, I hope you all have a very wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your love and support here, and take care for now.